Hi, I'm Jared. Welcome to Everyday and Adventure. Today we're going to be discussing the importance of being a little bit more careful when you're going about it alone. And what I mean by that is, I'm an adventurous person. I like playing around out in the outdoors, boats, dirt bikes, ATVs, uh, four-wheel driving and trucks, rock climbing, shooting, all that. Been doing it forever, and so there's a couple things when you go out alone. There's a couple things to keep in mind, and most of that is like, and I've mentioned this before, but I live miles from town, with just my wife and child. So uh, I kind of want to go into a story about how I broke my leg last year, um, and so I have a 1970s model Honda XR 500 four stroke, and that bike is and was super fun. And I broke it out on occasion and just went to ride around. I'd ride down the driveway if I needed to go do something down at the other end of the property, or go explore out in the desert with it. I've taken it miles and miles and miles from where I ever had any right being. Um, like, as far as being out of communication with people, uh, and I so when I broke my leg, this last time, I've broken my right leg twice. Uh, Here, I can show you all what it looks like. But this is what my leg looks like after the couple of devastating injuries that I've had to it. Uh, so, as you can see, my leg is pretty busted up, and that most of that damage isn't from the last time I broke my leg. However, it is part of it. Part of it is, and now from before, I couldn't hear my knee like pop and crack every time I move it, and now I can. So that's interesting, and my pain levels are much higher than they used to be. Um, but I did that on my driveway about half a mile from my house. That was just half a mile, and it took about 15 minutes before anyone knew what was going on, and that was when I had a cell phone on me. Um, and as I said, I've taken that bike out 50 miles from my house out into the desert where there's no service, there's no nothing. Um, and when I injured my leg, I didn't do it doing like some of the stupid stuff I normally do on dirt bikes, um, riding hard or hill climbing or trying to jump it, or like climbing up vertical concrete walls or whatever, like trying to use it like more like a trials bike. This was just driving down my driveway at a fairly slow pace, and I just hit like um, a little bit of a rut where some water from a previous rainstorm had washed out, just a little bit of a washout. I hit that with my rear tire, and my right leg came off of the peg, and I'm tall. I'm 6'3". So my leg dropped and hit the ground. It flat-footed hard, bent to this angle. It So when it hit the ground, it tore my leg like as far back as it could go, and so I after that I rode the bike, and I didn't fall off the bike. I rode the bike over to a berm, laid it up against the berm, and rolled off the bike, because I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't know how else to get off the motorcycle, and I didn't want it to fall on me, especially if I was already injured. So I rolled off of the bike, and I went to stand up, and my leg buckled out from under me, and I went to stand up again, and my leg buckled out from under me, and then, like an idiot, Guess who did that a couple more times before he realized that either his knee was dislocated so bad he couldn't get it back in by himself, or his leg was broken again. So anyway, I finally make it down to the driveway, or get back into the middle of the driveway, and we were doing some road grader work at the time. So my dad was down in the road grader, and he called up for my wife so she could come get me. I was concerned because at that point I was laying in the middle of the driveway, and I didn't know for sure if he was going to see me with the road grader. I didn't want to get run over again, and so anyway, like I said, that caused a lot of damage, and that was just a normal place that I rode, and not riding in an abnormal fashion, and not riding in a fast, like I wasn't being uncautious. But sometimes things happen, and you make mistakes, and then you live with the consequences of those mistakes, and that was one of those. So my point being is that now, since that happened, I'm prone to be a lot more cautious, because I go out and play around out in the desert by myself, and I've been doing that since I was a teenager. I'm 30 years old now. It's not like I can recover like I used to. And if you're 50 miles out and 17, 18 miles from a main road, if I had been in that situation, and that's like the thing that immediately occurred to me after I was back from my surgery, with recovering from breaking my leg. That was the thing that was the main thing that I was always thinking of, is, man, if I was out in the desert when that had happened, like really out there, I would have been screwed. I would have had to crawl all the way to Jungo Road to get any kind of medical assistance at all, and it still would have been more than an hour back into town. So they make those they make devices that you can put if you're riding or whatever, that track you via satellite, and also they can call for help. So those are kind of important. I'm going to be looking into getting one of those, but also at the same time, this is more of just a reminder, like, hey, if you're out there on your own, just be cautious to not put yourself in a situation that's too risky, because nobody wants you out there broken, beaten, injured, dead, because you made a slight mistake that kind of cascaded and got worse. Just be prepared. Have a little bit of medical gear on you to be able to deal with it. Have a little bit of training as to what you can do to immobilize joints and stuff if you were to break something, and learn enough to where you can be a little bit more safe than I've been maybe in the past out in the desert, being a little bit more careless than we all should be out there. So that's just a reminder, try and be safe out there, and don't do anything that's going to hurt you or hurt your family. Anyway, have a good one.